In 334 BC, a young king named Alexander of Macedonia embarked on what would become one of the most extraordinary military campaigns in history. His target was none other than the superpower of the time, the mighty Persian Empire. At just 20 years old, Alexander's remarkable leadership and fearless determination earned him violent career after victory. Over a mere decade, he would conquer vast territories, pushing the boundaries of the known world and establishing one of the largest empires the world had ever seen. To the Persians, he was remembered as Alexander the Accursed, a conqueror who brought devastation to their lands. Yet to the Western world, he would forever be known as Alexander the Great, a name immortalized in history. The story of Alexander unfolds against the backdrop of ancient Greece, a rugged land of innovation and conflict. Around 500 BC, Greece was a hotbed of intellectual, artistic, and military developments. Among its city-states, two giants emerged: Athens, the cultural hub where the military hierarchy floated from, and Sparta, a militaristic society renowned for its disciplined warriors and formidable army. In 480 BC, Athens and Sparta set aside their differences to confront a common enemy, the Persian Empire. At the narrow pass of Thermopylae, a small Greek force, led by 300 Spartans, heroically held back the overwhelming Persian army for 3 days before being surrounded and defeated. Despite this loss, Greek forces rallied, defeating the Persian navy at Salamis and decisively repelling the invasion at Plataea the following year. These victories ushered in a golden age for Greece, marked by cultural achievements and artistic brilliance. But internal conflicts soon shattered this unity. Rivalry between Athens and Sparta culminated in the Peloponnesian War, a prolonged conflict that weakened the Greek city-states and left them vulnerable to a new power rising in the north. For centuries, the mountainous kingdom of Macedonia had been dismissed by southern Greeks as a land of unsophisticated tribes. But under the leadership of King Philip II, Macedonia transformed into a military powerhouse. Philip's key innovation was the sarissa, an 18-foot pike that gave his infantry a decisive advantage in battle. These soldiers, arranged in tightly packed formations known as the phalanx, became a nearly unstoppable force on the battlefield. In 338 BC, at the Battle of Granicus, Philip's army crushed the combined forces of Athens and Thebes, cementing Macedonian dominance. Through diplomacy and conquest, Philip united the Greek city-states into the Hellenic League, with himself as supreme commander. Sparta alone refused to join this alliance. Philip's ultimate goal was an ambitious one: to lead a united Greece in a campaign against Persia, whose vast wealth and crumbling power made it a tantalizing target. But before he could launch his invasion, Philip was assassinated, likely the victim of court intrigue. His son Alexander, just 20 years old, inherited both the throne and his father's grand vision. Alexander was no ordinary young king. Tutored by the philosopher Aristotle, he possessed a sharp intellect and an insatiable curiosity. But he was also a seasoned military commander, having already proven himself in battle under his father's command. Before he could march on Persia, Alexander needed to secure his rule. He swiftly eliminated potential rivals and crushed rebellions in Illyria, Thessaly, and central Greece. His destruction of Thebes, where he razed the city and enslaved its people, served as a stark warning to any who might challenge him. By the spring of 334 BC, Alexander was ready to take on Persia. Leading an army of 400 soldiers, he crossed the Hellespont into Asia Minor, beginning one of the greatest military campaigns the world would ever see. Alexander's army was a meticulously organized and highly trained force. At its core were 9,000 Macedonian phalangites, armed with the fearsome sarissa. These professional soldiers formed the phalanx, a dense wall of spears 16 ranks deep, nearly impenetrable from the front. Supporting them were the elite hypaspists, versatile infantry who protected the phalanx flanks. The cavalry, Alexander's shock troops, included the elite companion cavalry, which he personally led. These 1,800 horsemen were armed with spears and swords and trained for lightning-fast maneuvers. Additional cavalry units came from Thessaly, Thrace, and other Greek regions, each contributing to the mightiest regiments. The people in possession of the cavalry also had the ability to transform into the culminating Battle of Thessaly. Skirmishers, such as the Agrianus javelin throwers and Thracian archers, added flexibility to Alexander's forces. Together, this diverse army was a formidable combination of discipline, innovation, and raw power. The Persian satraps of Asia Minor, alarmed by Alexander's invasion, gathered their forces near the river Granicus. Their army included 1,000 cavalry from across the empire and several thousand Greek mercenaries. The Persian cavalry formed the front line, while the mercenaries, whose loyalty was questionable, were held in reserve. Alexander wasted no time. Ignoring advice to wait until dawn, he ordered an immediate attack. Leading from the front, he and his companion cavalry charged across the river. Braving a hail of arrows and javelins, a fierce battle erupted in the riverbank, where Alexander fought alongside his men, displaying both courage and tactical brilliance. At one point, Alexander's life hung by a thread. He was struck by a Persian noble, but managed to kill his attacker. Another Persian raised his sword to strike Alexander from behind, only to be cut down by Black Clitus, one of Alexander's loyal commanders. As more of Alexander's army crossed the river, the Persian cavalry was overwhelmed, and their line collapsed. The Greek mercenaries, isolated and outnumbered, pleaded for mercy. None was given. Alexander's men slaughtered them to the last. The victory at the Granicus opened the door to Asia Minor. But the Persian Empire, with its immense wealth and resources, was far from defeated. Ahead lay even greater challenges, including a confrontation with Darius III, the Persian King of Kings. Alexander's journey had only just begun. Over the next decade, he would face countless battles, cross deserts and mountains, and reshape the ancient world forever. This video was made possible thanks to extensive research and artwork from Osprey Publishing, known for their detailed studies on historical battles and military campaigns. For a deeper dive into the life of Alexander the Great, check out the Moments in History series by Invicta.